What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and we have got Emblem Eirika in the game, and this is going to be my full in-depth breakdown of her. So here we have got Emblem Eirika as a sword cavalier, and she does have her preferred weapon, a zero twin edge. So this sword is kind of basic. It does have slaying, and it does give her and the 2 space allies the empathy status and the special charges +1 status. So this empathy status is something that was introduced with Rune, and it basically gives you extra stats depending on the types of bonus status effects and the penalty status effects that you've got on your team and on the enemy team. So this can go up to max +7, and this is not all that hard to achieve nowadays because every other unit pretty much gives you like 2 or 3 status effects. So she herself is able to give 3 status effects with her Slotsy skill and this weapon. And the special charges +1 status is also good for just triggering her twin strike on the brave attack with the null guard that she's got in her special. So the synergy is definitely there. And she's got Omni +14 as the stats that she can get out of it in the combat. And she also has true damage based on 20% of her speed. This is not going to be there for the AoE specials. And I mean, you're going to be using her preferred special anyways. And you also have the flat damage reduction on foes' first attacks, including the brave heads, depending on 20% of her speed. And then finally, you've got null follow-up. So if I just took out one of these status effects, then this would pretty much be the 3rd arcane weapon in my opinion. It's not really all that insane, but what is insane that this is gonna be enabling her to use the wind sword style, and only she can use it. The other ring users cannot really use it, and her twin strike special makes up for the tame weapon that she has got, and this is gonna be a 3 cooldown special, which becomes 2 cooldown with her weapon, and then she gets the special charges. So it's pretty easy for her to trigger her special, and she has got the dual phase brave effect built into this weapon, and this is one of the strongest effects in the game for a long time because this has been a timeless effect. Even units that provide this kind of effect have aged really well, like Brattle Katria for example, and Winter Cordelia. Now we've got Ice Stripe Thea, and even Desert Marissa who can give it in the dual phase. So having this built in her special means that she doesn't really need any kind of help getting this in both of the phases. And then it also has the null guard built in it, and usually the Cavaliers are not going to be having the easiest access to null guard, even though the other movement types have got access to stuff like Speed Taker, for example, at the bare minimum, and then, tempo skills. And then she has got the 40% unpierceable damage reduction if her or the foe special is ready or triggered before or during the combat. So this is pretty common nowadays, and she can actually be deceptively bulky and live the hits because of having the unpierceable damage reduction and then the flat damage reduction in her weapon. And she is really fast, so if she survives, then you're getting quad attacked and she may just kill your tank because she is going to be hitting hard with the other skills that she's got in her kit. And now let's take a look at her style, which is exclusive to her and it is not given to her ring users like Emblem Lyn. So I thought I would clarify that because we just got Emblem Lyn a couple of months back, and Eirika does not follow her footsteps in giving the style to her ring users. Only she can do this. So she is able to attack from 2 spaces away like a ranged unit while being a melee unit. And this is something that a lot of people, wanted in FEH because of having the ranged weapons in the mainline games. But the most that we got was the effect of distant counter on these units. But here we have got Emblem Eirika being able to attack at range. And this is incredibly strong because she is able to hit in the backline of the enemy team while being a cavalier, a melee cavalier. And being a melee cavalier, there are certain things that she has got access to, which the ranged cavaliers simply do not. I mean, they don't have access to assault force and stuff like that. And then she has got the Hexblade effect. So this is going to be giving you the adaptive damage, and this does help you against the lopsided bulky enemies like Emblem Sigurd for example, who can be tanky on the physical side, but as soon as you hit him on the resistance, he's going to be folding. But a lot of the modern tanks are going to be having the balanced mixed bulk, and this is actually a bit problematic for your favorites that you're trying to tank with because they probably do not have that kind of optimized bulk. So you're forced to run Mystic Boost Sacred Seal to disable this kind of Hexblade damage. as we have seen before with Brave Felix, and against her style, any kind of foe is going to be able to counterattack if any of these conditions are met. So either they have to be a melee armor, which most of the good armors are. Unfortunately, range armors are simply not on that kind of level, and distant counter, close counter effect is also going to be enabling you to counterattack to Eirika. And a lot of units do have distant counter built in their weapon, like Attuned Chimera or Emblem Eirika. And if the foe's range is equal to the distance between you and the foe, then they're also able to counterattack. So this is kind of similar to Emblem Lin with some of the rules and how, you know, the enemy is able to counterattack. It also disables any kind of after combat movement, just like Emblem Lin. But this does not include Kanto. You're going to be able to move with the Kanto and retreat, you know, completely far back if you have someone like Legendary Sakura supporting you. And she also is going to be functioning as a melee unit, of course, with range 1. So she is never going to be triggering Aegis, Far Savior, or Armored Beacon of the enemies. Instead, she's going to be triggering the melee version of those skills, like Near Save, Pavis, and you know, Armored Blaze, for example. So that's something you need to keep in mind, and that's the big advantage of her, because she can attack at range, but she's not penalized for that by all of those defensive skills and effects. And this style is, of course, once per turn. You're not able to use it again and again in that same turn, even if you dance her. So that is not the biggest deal, because even once per turn is going to be enough with the amount of tools that we have got. So this is her style, and this is the entirety of Emblem Eirika and her power. She does not seem the most insane unit. You know, she doesn't have a lot of text, but she is still really good with the quality of effects that she has got in her style and in her special. You know, the dual phase Brave effect is extremely good with Null Guard. And then she has got her Emblem Ring effect, which can be equipped on any kind of melee unit. So similar to how Emblem Lin's effect is only for the range units, this is the melee equivalent of that. So the melee units are going to be able to get the dual phase Brave effect on the first combat of each phase. This is kind of similar to Divine Nectar and how it gives you the flat damage reduction on the first combat of each phase. So the dual phase Brave effect is extremely good when you're able to have it on your own unit, and if they already have all of the other effects of Emblem Ring, like warping or Kanto or anything like that. So it makes for a good compression, and a lot of the really good and modern units are going to be able to do it, or it is going to be an opportunity cost, and it is also going to be debuffing you for -4 attack. So it does have a bit of a penalty, kind of similar to Emblem Marth. And this is going to be working only if you're a melee unit and if you do not have any kind of AoE special. So it is going to be similar to Emblem Lin in that regard, where AoE specials are pretty much not going to be allowed here. So don't try and run this on Emblem Sigurd. He's not going to be getting the Brave hit because he has got Override as his AoE special. Having the Brave effect on only the first combat of each phase might seem a bit limiting, but in my opinion, I think the first combat matters a lot in competitive game modes like Ether Raids, and especially in Summoner Duels, and it can make or break the game, because if you're not able to get past the enemy's near save or far save, then you're not going to be having much of a hope of cleaning up their team. And if you're not able to tank the first enemy that attacks you in the enemy phase, then you're obviously not going to be living to tell the tale and tank the remaining units. So the first combat does matter. Now this could be compared to someone like Desert Marissa, who can give you the dual phase Brave effect from far away, and she does have that flexibility, but keep in mind that you have to occupy a team slot, and it is not always possible to have a unit, you know, just there for the support. Marissa is mainly there for the support. Sure, she can, you know, enter into the combat, but she is mainly used for her support. And if you're able to do it with your Emblem Ring, then that is really good if you've got the other effects. And a lot of times you're able to outsource the Kanto nowadays with Future Witness or even the Salvate status of Legendary Sakura, so you're able to have it, or, you know, just run the other skills like Brutal Tempest, for example, and then you can try and have the Warping with Guidance, Soaring Echo, and this kind of dual phase Brave effect is a lot harder to, you know, outsource, is pretty much what I'm saying. There are only a few units that can give you this kind of Brave effect. You're not going to be able to have it on your own with any kind of skill if it's not a preferred skill. So this is a good emblem effect both for the tanks and for the nukes, more so for the nukes in my opinion, and for the mixed phase units that can go in, kill something, and then just stay and tank, after setting up some kind of stone tile or any kind of terrain, then it is going to be helpful to them. And if you're going to be using this on some kind of enemy phase unit, and if you have got enough bulk stacked up with the support of Set It, do Rhea and stuff like that, then you can have the Brave Hit so that you can kill the enemies that may have Miracle as their effect. So the Brave effect is going to be helping you get past it, and that is going to be a big thing for a lot of Far Saviors against the opposing Emblem lane users, because imagine having a tuned Hector or Nidhoggers having the Brave effect, or Duo Rhea having the Brave effect, even if she's just trying to near save. That is quite powerful with the tanking that these units are capable of doing. So it is not going to be doubling down on the bulk like Ike Ring or anything else, but it is going to be helping you in these situations when you're up against some kind of miracle enemy that does not have that much bulk. For example, we have got Duo Lucina, who usually runs Miracle, and she has got decent amount of bulk with her Future Witness and also her overall stats that she's able to get, but you're able to stop the special with her Scowl only on the first hit, and a lot of armors have Null Guard. Some of the armors also have Special Charges effect, so they're guaranteed going to be triggering some kind of special even if they get scowled on their Brave attack. So that's the real usage on the tanks in my opinion, and it is definitely going to be quite influential in Summoner duels. And then we have got an Inheritable skill in Blue Skies, just like how every Emblem hero brings a new Inheritable skill. This time it is not a slot B skill actually, it is gonna be a slot A skill, and this is only Inheritable to Sword Lance and Axe Flyers and Cavaliers. So unfortunately Dragons and Beast units of those movement types do not get this, and of course the range units are not going to be having it. So for a lot of these melee flyers, this is going to be replacing the mastery skill, because you just get the Canto 2 out of it without engaging in the combat. Mastery skill requires you to engage into the combat to get the Canto out of it, and it also gives you +8 attack and speed. It can give you up to +8 true damage and 8 flat damage reduction on the first attacks, and the amount of true damage that you get is simply based on the allies in 3 rows and 3 columns, multiplied by 2 and then added by 2. So the 8 is the ceiling, which is not the highest compared to an Excel skill, which can give you ridiculous amounts of flat damage reduction. But if you're a brave attacking unit like Emblem Eirika, then this kind of true damage is going to be giving you even more mileage, as you're going to be attacking multiple times. And if you run this with Emblem Eirika Ring, then of course it is going to be beneficial. When I'm going to be making my dedicated video to Emblem Eirika explaining the best users of her Emblem Ring, I'm of course going to be covering the best users of this skill as well. And then we have got Assault Force as her slot B skill, and this is going to be the best offensive slot B skill for her a lot of the times, because this is going to be giving you the 20% true damage based on her speed, and this is going to be another layer of true damage on top of her weapon and then the slot A skill. And it also gives you the 50% damage reduction piercing, so it is good for the passive piercing, which she's otherwise going to be missing if not for this skill. And it also gives you the null debuffs effect, so you do not need to worry about the debuffs, and you don't really need the null debuff status on her if you're running Assault Force. So in most scenarios, you're going to be keeping the slot B skill, but there are definitely some options that you can run. And then she's got attack speed, Insight Hone. This is going to be giving you the Incited status, which is going to be another status towards the empathy status effect that you've got. And this is going to be giving you even more stats in the combat, which is going to be helping you nuke better. So Emblem Eirika is extremely good as a unit herself, and of course she gives you the ring, so just like the other Emblem heroes, she is going to be giving you insane value. And the reason why Emblem heroes are so good is because they are equipable like Sacred Seals, and they give you such unique effects that it gives you the value to your entire barracks. And if you play competitively, then the gap of not having an Emblem hero and having it is so huge. I cannot tell you, I missed Emblem Celica so many times on my free-to-play account, and every single time it just felt such a big difference, something that I was missing. So in Ether 8's offense and defense, you're going to be able to deploy 6 units that can all have their own unique emblem rings. And in Summoner Duels, it is also going to be extremely important. And even if you just play Arena, this is still going to be making your life easy because you can get the Brave effect on your Brave units and get the bonus skill. And right now, in my opinion, the best way to play Arena Assault is to lock your teams beforehand and the reserve teams, and then have all of your emblem rings be active on every single match. So this is also going to be giving you that option. And Blue Skies is going to be a really good slotty skill that is not going to be needing any kind of change in most scenarios. But if you want to have more flat damage reduction, then Attack Speed XL is something you could run, especially if you're already going to be running Sigurd Ring for the Kanto. Assault Force is going to be giving you the true damage, which is really needed. But if you're able to supplement the true damage with, external support, then Potent is also something you could run to have the 5 hits. And Pass is of course going to be something you are going to be seeing in Summoner Duels to get past the warp blocking, and especially on many of the trench maps where a Cavalier is not going to be having the easiest time. So you could run Pass on her with the Celica Ring and then Warp, despite the warp blocking of Lower Ground, Higher Ground, or Barricade. And Flow Desperation doesn't really get too much usage, but if you're not able to run Emblem Lin as the support or a Firestorm Dancer, then this is one of the ways of just consecutively attacking because of the null follow-up present in her weapon. But obviously you're going to be trading away some of the true damage. In the slot C, I think there are some important decisions. Fatal Smoke is going to be one of the best options that you could run because it is going to be helping you get past Duorea, who does a miracle. Even Attack Wave N is a bit of an underrated option because it does give you true damage, which works really well with the Brave attacks like this, and with the Emblem Eirika Ring. This is something that you could use on many of the other units if you do not have the other fodder. And for Sacred Seals, you're mainly going to be focusing on her attack and speed. And she is also going to be giving you really unique fodder in Blue Skies until we get some kind of other seasonal or maybe rearmed or tuned unit with her new Inheritable skill. We still haven't gotten momentum on another unit for Emblem Sigurd, so I'm not sure how long that's going to be taking. And now let's go over my Emblem Hero tier list. So I'm going to be ranking them based on their unit strength themselves, and then on the strength that their ring gives you to your different units. In tier 1, I'm going to be having Emblem Eirika. While Emblem Sigurd has got the superior mobility with the Gallop status, Emblem Eirika has got the better punching potential through the common near saves that we have got right now. So we have got quite a bit of AoE counters with the status effects and the stone terrain, but against the Brave hits, there is going to be the damage reduction, but she is still going to be able to quad attack, and that's quite a lot with her true damage stacking. So she is going to be hitting extremely hard, and I feel like her best emblem ring right now is going to be Emblem Sigurd, even though it does overlap a bit with Blue Skies. Still, it gives you the better Canto 3 and also the +1 movement, which is amazing for the mobility. You can of course run Emblem Celica Ring, but it is going to be getting stopped by the warp blocking unless you run Pass, and there is going to be the insane potential of her with Legendary Sakura as you're able to go in, hit something, at range with her style, and then retreat all the way back. Emblem Lin can give you the pre-impulse and the desperation status, so she can cover the range matchups while Eirika can cover the melee matchups, quote unquote, while attacking at range. And having any kind of true damage support with Legendary Sakura or Ninja Lucina is going to be paying dividends with her quad attacks. And the main optimization that she's going to be needing in her kit is going to be Fatal Smoke 4 because of all of the Breath of Life healing that we have gotten, mainly because of the miracle effects that we have got on one of the best units in the game in Duorea, who is going to be seen as a near savior and even as a far savior. And in some of the game modes where you're only able to bring one save unit like Summoner Duels, the fact that you're able to attack at range is going to be playing quite a big of a role, as you're able to not trigger the enemy's far save skill while still attacking at range. You can also run some of the other skills that I did mention, like Flow Desperation or Potent, but mainly there is going to be the Fatal Smoke that she's going to be needing to just make sure that no one lives and you completely eliminate any kind of chance of miracle being there to stop her. And you're definitely going to be seeing her in Ether 8's defense because Emblem Sigurd, as I said, is getting, countered, and any kind of competent tanking team is going to be planning for the AoE specials. But compared to that, Emblem Eirika is going to be a bit harder to tank as she is going to be able to quad attack, hit so hard, and she can function as a rally up trap unit with Duo Hathrin or even Mythic Hathrin because Divine Nectar gives you an extra action. So because of being a Cavalier, she can just come forward, rally someone who is going to be having an enemy in their threat range, and then Eirika gets a extra action and just is able to attack with the Celica ring. And if you run Lorathar, then you can just mix up and make it a bit more unpredictable and annoying with his forced assigned decoy. Then in tier 1, I'm also going to be having Emblem Lyn. Now Emblem Lyn does have certain limitations, like she's not able to kill every single Far Savior out there, but still the fact that she's able to use her sniping from turn 1 compared to her ring is going to be really beneficial when you combine this with effects of Lorathar, Rearmed Layla, and her flash and undefended status. So everything like that is going to be helpful. And there's also the quad attacking potential and 5-hit potential with dual strike and triangle attack support. And if the enemy has got the Hardy Bearing, then you can also run Ymir for the cleansing and also the miracle support. So there are a lot of options, and mainly you're going to be trying to stack up the true damage on her. And even Windsweep is a tech option that you could use in Ether 8's offense so that you could just spread the field smoke and disable the miracle. And it is not going to be getting cleansed because it is a middle of the turn debuff. So even if the enemy has got some kind of cleansing, having the certain hit with the Windsweep against these physical armors and then spreading the Null Miracle is really going to be helping you set up the kill with your Emblem Lyn ring user. And then in Summoner Duels, of course you could run Firm Canticurb, as it's not the easiest to slot in. And at least against the non-Legendary Sakura teams, this is going to be helping you. Otherwise, there's going to be Yunaka out there who's just going to be hitting you and then running away with her Kanto. So it's kind of necessary nowadays to counter those kinds of teams, especially in Summoner Duels, because some people are going to be spreading out their Legendary Sakura with another team instead of having one team that is going to be getting banned for certain if it also has Yunaka accompanying Sakura. Then I'm going to be finishing off tier 1 with Emblem Sigurd. And as I said, we do have the Stone Terrain, the anti-AoE measures with the damage reduction that many of the tanks like Duo Rhea have. So it can stop him, and a lot of Duo Rheas are going to be so annoying for him. We have got Attuned Hector as the free Hero Rises event, so it certainly limits him a bit, and he's not going to be as insane as he was at his peak when he came out, but I think that he's still extremely good with that Gallop status that you can copy with Brave Crom, who is in the Hall of Forms right now. Mainly, you're going to be getting stopped by the Ice Lock of Legendary Sakura and the healers, so that is a way of limiting him, but still extremely effective when paired up with other annoying units like Lorathar with his Force Assigned Decoy, especially in terms of Summoner Duels and Ether 8's offense. And then I'm going to be having Emblem Celica. I feel like she has gotten a bit better because of Legendary Sakura. So what you can do is basically run Emblem Sigurd Ring on her, and she is able to warp in and then completely retreat. And because she has got Pass built in her Warp Ragnarok, she's not stopped by any kind of warp blocking. So she is a bit unique in that regard, but to return to your team, you need to survive the combat. And that is one of the main problems with her, because the tanks are simply going to be having Far Savior and they're going to be having Hardy Bearing, and they're not going to be dying to her single attack. So she may never return, but if these stars align, then you have got something like the current Summoner Duel scenario where you've got Erosion as a captain skill, which just lets you ignore any kind of far save tank, and you can go in and retreat all the way with Emblem Celica. So I do feel like she has gotten a bit better because of the insanity that Legendary Sakura enables. And then I've got Emblem Ike. So he used to be at the peak of tanking, but nowadays we just have so many different and specialized tanks that also do other things and, you know, give the support like Miracle of Duorea. Of course, she's not infantry, and there is another really good infantry Omni tank in Attuned Timber right now on a Hero Rises banner, but still the Emblem Eirika ring is going to be quite beneficial to him for the tanking, because if you're not going to be running Emblem Celica ring for warping in, then you could at least get the first combat brave attacks with this. And if you're going to be setting up stone terrain with fortifications to be really annoying, you do have option of Brutal Tempest of giving you the Canto, as you can get the dual phase brave effect by having Desert Marissa now, and then Spring Plumeria can also make it even more annoying by refreshing his Canto, and you can just go in again and attack. And she also has a bunch of other effects which is going to be helping him tank better, like the debuffs and also the Sabotage status and the Frozen status. To end off the unit strength tier list of these Emblem heroes, I'm going to be having Emblem Marth, so it's a bit tough out there for him because now we've got Legendary Ira who can just give you the potent status, and she hits so hard. She also can run Celica ring with pass, and even though she doesn't get the Desperation effect, she can just, you know, nuke so hard with the Crusader's Astra. So if you're trying to optimize Emblem Marth, then it's kind of funny that you need the potent status of Legendary Ira, because if you run potent, then you're going to be giving up on the true damage that you can potentially get out of Speed Taker. So it is one of the options of maximizing his damage output. And then you also have the option of running Emblem Eirika ring so that you can have the brave hits, and that can also help you with the potent and the desperation that he has got in his weapon. And Brutal Tempest is also a way that he can function better as a player phase sword infantry. The effective damage against dragons is helpful because Duorea is a very prominent unit, but like I said, you will need to stack up the support and the true damage to really make sure that you know, he can kill things with his desperation and his multiple hits. Now let's talk about the ring strength, which is going to be the main way that these emblem heroes are going to be able to provide you with the long-term value, even if they fall off as units themselves. So that is the big advantage that they've got. And in tier 1, I'm going to be having the Emblem Lin ring. I think she has fundamentally changed the game because now you got a fear for the attack that can come from far away, and you're able to get the support of Brattle Katria, Ymir, all of these units that give you the certain support effects, but only if you're near them. So Emblem Lin ring can enable that, and we have got some incredibly powerful ranged nukes now. Even before that, we had, you know, stuff like Attuned Micaiah just ready there to make use of something like this. So I think that she is going to be the best Emblem ring. And then I would have Emblem Celica ring. Now, even though this is getting countered by the warp blocking of lower ground, higher ground barricade, I still think that it is one of the you know, best rings out there because of the warping potential that you've got. And you can also make use of this with the Pass slot B skill. And if we ever get the Pass Sacred Seal or Attuned skill or, you know, status, then this is going to be skyrocketing in value. And I would actually argue that right now, the best nukes are able to have their slot B occupied by Pass, and they're still able to get the other effects. For example, we have got you know, Resvalgers, who are amazing users of Pass and Celica ring because, you know, both of them can hit so hard. We have also got Legendary Ira as one of the best Celica ring users right now, and that is one of the reasons why I would say that Legendary Ira is much better as a unit overall right now over Brave Felix, who used to be really insane with his extra action, but the extra action may not help you much if your, you know, warping is just blocked and you're not able to kill Duorea. But Legendary Ira, because she is just so insane without her slot B skill, even, you know, if you take it out, so she's able to stand out as a nuke, whereas Brave Felix simply needs his preferred slot B skill and many of the other nukes as well. So having your slot B skill free as a nuke is a big thing nowadays, I would say, because of it. And Emblem Eirika ring, I would also put it in tier 1. It is not going to be as insane as Emblem Lin ring that we got before. And it is not going to be as annoying as Emblem Celica ring at its peak, but still it is a very strong effect nonetheless when you put it on units like Valentine Edelgard, for example. Having it on any kind of unit with warping, with pass, or just having it on any kind of tank that can spook you and kill you through your miracle. It's kind of hard to put any kind of emblem ring in tier 2, but still, we have got a good amount of emblem rings at this point that you could have your entire team have a unique emblem ring. So that's why I'm going to be having Emblem Sigurd ring. It is still a really good ring because it can give you the flat canto and also give you the extra movement. It's just that the canto is outsourceable a bit more easily nowadays with the units that I did mention before in this video, like Ninja Lucina and then Legendary Sakura and other units who can also give out the canto status. And there's also canto built in for a lot of units and for a lot of skills, but still it's a really good ring for offensively going out there. And now with Legendary Sakura, the canto is even better, and it also helps you position yourself better with Emblem Lin if you run it on her, and it also helps you in arena with your bonus units, just go in and out and get the kill. Then I'm going to be having Emblem Marth here. He is going to be beneficial with the Shield Fighter builds. They are still strong, but we're getting counters to it with Valentine Edelgard, Legendary Eira, and also Attuned Alm. And there's also the fact that you're going to be having the damage penalty if you Brave attack with your weapon or with the support of Desert Marissa. So Emblem Marth ring, penalizes you more for your Brave attacks than Emblem Eirika ring. So lowering your damage output may prove to be a bit fatal against the insane tanks with the flat damage reduction nowadays that we've got, but it is still a timeless effect, even though it's not going to be on the insane level of the other rings. And then finally, I've got Emblem Ike ring. Don't get me wrong, it is going to be helpful for tanking for Far Saviors and Omni tanks, but comparatively to the other rings, I find myself using Ike ring a lot less because the meta right now is just so offensive in nature with all of the tools that we have got that a lot of times you can, get away without having Emblem Ike ring. And I mean, you can only have 5 emblem rings or even 4 emblem rings depending on the competitive game mode. So there are, some rings now that you have to choose over the other. It is not as free as before, and going forward, these emblem rings are going to be competing more with each other now for the opportunity cost and for their usage. Overall, this banner is going to be having amazing value in the red color because we have got triple emblem for the very first time, I believe, as the color share. So if you're trying to get merges on these emblem heroes, then it can be helpful. And usually the merges are not the most insane things nowadays with all of these effects that we have got, but still these emblem rings are equipable on any unit. So if you're someone that is trying to eventually build up the merges, this is not the worst if you're aiming to get Emblem Eirika ring. And if you don't have these emblem rings, then this is your chance of getting Emblem Ike ring. Emblem Marth was present on the Hero Fest, so the chances of you getting him was, better there. And then blue has got 2 emblems with Emblem Celica and Emblem Sigurd. Emblem Sigurd is also easier to get on the Hero Rises banner with the Guaranteed Spark, and Attuned Temera is also there as really good value with Neon Nitoker. Green also has Emblem Lin, but she's also there in the Hero Rises banner, and green does have 2 units that you could use for the fodder. We have got Rearmed Theatzi, who gives the Arcane Giant Axe, which is the best axe pretty much for any kind of unit. And she also gives the Twin Nearsay, which is needed for having the bulk. And then Attuned Bridget, even though she's not the most nuke right now compared to Attuned Alm, who just came out, her fodder with Tempo Echo and perfect attack speed is also extremely good for a lot of infantry units. Lumera is old, but she is still solid because of her stone terrain, which can help you against the AoE specials. She also gives you the Null Guard support, which can help you with certain units with the Emblem Lin ring or Eirika ring, and she also can help you override the ice tiles, which are so common now with the ice lock that we have got on Legendary Sakura, and then we have got duo skills that can set up the terrain. So her stone terrain is still helpful to set up, and colorless unfortunately is going to be extremely lackluster that most people are going to be avoiding because Goto and Legendary Guinevere don't really provide you with much value. Their support can be emulated by better units, and there is Fomortes, who can roll Compress as a savior in Anima season, but still it does take quite a bit of things to make him tank the modern threats. and he is mainly going to be there as a bridge fodder, if you're trying to get the twin skill and all of the important skills out of your attuned Hector. So next month we're going to be having the young banner, so maybe it could coincide with some kind of remake or new game that is going to be announced in the Nintendo Direct. I'm recording this before the Direct, and it might be Binding Blade, Young Roy, or maybe, Yggdrasil, Young Seliph. So we'll see. And then Legendary Nana and Deidra are also going to be getting their remix. And there's going to be another new heroes banner, and hopefully it can have the third Arcane Sword or Lance, or at least the second Arcane Staff. Double Special Heroes is going to be there, and we're going to be having Ninja Lucina. I believe her rare run was stated in the announcement, and she's likely going to be color sharing with Halloween Asker. And then there's also going to be Winter Female Chess, who is really good nuke with her effective damage. And then we also have the Rhea before Rhea and Halloween Nagi as the anti-AoE unit. And then Blue is going to be having Greed and Mirabilis. Mirabilis is still really good as a 4-star focus to get as a one-off. She is an incredible dancer, and we're going to be having the Golden Week at the end of April, so it is going to be having a Hero Fest and some celebration banners, so that can give you value. I feel like next month it is going to be an Astra or Dark Raid Mythic. I'm thinking Astra because Astra is going to be having the unit that can enable the extra unit slot, basically opposing to Athos, who just got released, and Athos is going to be there as a color share. And then Res Valkyr is also there with a really good color share, probably the best one that she's got until now, with Athos and a potentially new unit. Attuned Hector with Ira and Shez is also quite incredible if you're trying to dupe the fodder and make use of it even more with the free Hector that we have got. And Legendary Ira in herself is a really strong unit, so if you're not able to summon on the Hero Rises, this is going to be helpful. And even if you did, this can help you get the merges if you're looking for that. Green is going to be having Camilla and Corin color sharing. I do have a feeling that Legendary Camilla may show up in the holo forms for Fates in April, so we will know about that when it happens. And then Colorless is, as per usual, is going to be having a bit of an underwhelming color share right there with Galvig, Loki, and Elfin. So I hope this can help you plan your summons better, and I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support. And you can also subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as your Far Savior against the ranged attack of Emblem Eirika. So with that, see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.